So are you an employee or you have registered your business as a business name with the Corporate Affairs Commission? Then this video is for you. Come close. I've had a lot of inquiries where people ask me, Mr. Temba, this particular new tax law, how does it affect my personal income? And some people ask, oh, this new tax law, how exactly are we going to pay taxes? Are we going to pay more taxes or we are going to be paying less taxes? Then this video is for you. I've had a lot of people make that inquiry, and that's why I'm making this particular video. And if you follow me to the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you two things. One, how this new Nigerian Tax Act will affect your income as an individual which works 8 to 5, that you are in paid employment. And two, I'm going to be showing you how the new Nigerian Tax Act will affect you as someone that runs a business name kind of business, and the associated taxes that will relate to you, you're going to be paying to the government as from the 1st of January 2026. You know, there are interesting provisions in the new tax law that provides guidance on how exactly to compute your personal income tax as an individual in a paid employment, and how exactly to compute these taxes as people or someone that runs a business name in Nigeria. So that's what we're going to be moving into now, where I'm going to be showing you practically how to compute these taxes and how it affects your income as someone that runs a business name or someone that is in paid employment in Nigeria. So stay with me as we move to the board to show you practically how this affects you. So this is where we are going to be having the practical explanation of your taxes as an individual who works in a paid employment, and also as someone that runs a business name. You know, when it comes to business name and individual taxes, when it comes to personal income tax, the computation, it's done with same rates, right? Same graduating rates. So that is what we are going to be achieving with this sheet. As you can see on the screen, we have two sheets here. The first sheet is employee, so we're going to be showing you how to calculate your employee taxes with this first sheet, and the second sheet is business name. So this is where we are going to be showing you how to calculate your taxes as someone that runs a business name, right? So these are the two things we are going to be achieving with this session. So coming to the employee, so let's assume you are an employee that works in an organization. Let's assume XYZ Limited, and your monthly salary is 500,000. As you can see here, if your monthly salary is 500,000 and your annual salary is 6 million, so 500,000 multiplied by 12 months is 6 million. And let's assume your rent, you pay rent, right? You stay in an apartment, you pay rent, and you are good with your landlord, you have your rent agreement, and then your receipt for payment, everything intact, and your rent is 3 million. So how do we compute your salary? So first thing we need to look at are the deductibles, what you can use to reduce your monthly salary, right? What can be used to reduce your monthly salary? That's your deductibles. The first deductibles you can see on this table here is pension, right? Pension can be used to reduce your gross salary, and also which will help to reduce your taxes. So if you are in an organization that does pension for you, then this is an allowable deduction for tax purposes. And then pension is at least 18%. It can be more, but at least 18%, which is 8% from you, the employee, then 10% from the employer. So we are only regarding the 8% that is deducted from you, the employee. That's why you see pension 8%. But the least amount of pension is 18%. 8% for employee, which is you, and 10% for employer. So as you can see here, we have pension 8%. If we look at the description here, 8% of salary, that's basic housing and transport, BHT. Pension is 8% of your basic housing and salary and transport. So basic housing and transport is the composition of your salary, which gives you the figure of this monthly and annual salary, as the case may be. Then there's NHIS. NHIS means Nigerian Health Insurance Scheme, 5% contribution of gross salary. You know, for some organized private sector, the organization takes care of the NHIS for you through HMOs, right? Through HMOs. So you can find yourself in an organization where you are enjoying HMO, but the organization takes care of it. But in a situation where the organization does not take care of it, you need to pay 5% from your gross salary. And there is NHF, National Housing Fund contribution, which is 2.5% of gross salary, but this is optional. So not all organization contributes. For private sector, this is optional, and it's not all organizations that contribute this. And then there's rent relief of 20%, but then the 20% rent relief has a cap of 500,000. So no matter what your rent is, it should not, the allowable deductible from salary with your rent will not exceed 500,000. So before this new tax act that is taking effect from 1st of January 2026, there were other consolidated relief allowance which had to do with 200,000 naira or 1% of your gross income, which is higher, plus 20% of your gross income. So at the end of the day, people were enjoying up to 21% relief allowance on their tax payment for personal income taxes when it has to do with paid employment. People were enjoying up to 21%, but the government have adjusted the tax rate and removed the consolidated relief allowance and presented to us the rent relief. So if you come down, this is the tax band, right? The first 800,000 you pay 0% in taxes. The next 2.2 million you pay 15%. The next 9 million 18%. The next 13 million 21%. The next 25 million 23%. And if you're earning above 50 million, the last rate is 25%. So let's go deep into computing your salary. If you earn 500,000 monthly, and assuming you contribute both pension, NHIS, and NHF. So the amount, 8% of your salary, that's this 6 million multiplied by 8%, you have 480,000 naira, which are summed up here, right? It has summed up here. Then NHIS is 5%. So we'll do this, your annual salary multiplied by your 5%, right, which is 300,000. Then NHF 2.5%. So we'll just simply do equals to this annual salary multiplied by 2.5%. So we have 150,000 naira. So 20% rent relief. Your rent is 3 million, right? So if you do equals to 3 million multiplied by 20% is going to give us 600,000, and the law has said your relief should not exceed 500,000. So this will not fly. What we can only recognize is 500,000, right? 500,000. So now your relief, right? Your relief, your total deductions, your deductibles now is 1.4 million. So we are going to less this 1.4 million from our total income. We are going to be less this 1.4 million from our total income to get our total tax payable, right? Your total tax is what we are going to charge you, total tax chargeable, right? Total income chargeable, right, for taxes, total income chargeable for taxes, right? We are going to do your annual salary 6 million minus our total deductions, and we're going to have 4,570,000. So this is an assumption that we pay both pension, NHIS, NHF, and then you are claiming the rent relief. So let's come and use the tax table to see how much taxes we are going to pay in from this 4,570,000. So the first 800,000 on this 4,570,000 is at 0%. 0%. So we're going to be putting 0% here. And then the balance. So what is the balance? This 4.5 million, 4,570,000 naira minus 800. We'll remove the first 800,000. What's the balance remaining? 3,770,000. So 3,770,000 is more than 2.2 million, right? So what do? We are going to take 15% of 2.2 million, which is equals to 2.2 million multiplied by 15%, which is 330,000. So what do we do next? So we are going to reduce 3,770,000 minus 2.2 million. Let's know the balance. So 3,770,000 minus 2.2 million. the balance is 1,570,000. So 1,570,000 is less than 9 million. So what do? We are going to charge the remaining percent, 18%. We are going to charge this 18% now on the balance, because the balance does not exceed 9 million. So that's equals to the balance that is left here multiplied by 18%. So what do we have? 282,600. So what's the total? The total is, as you can see, the total here is 612,600. So if we divide 612,600 by 12, we are going to be having 51,050 naira. So this person that earns 500,000 naira a month is going to be paying a monthly tax of 51,050 naira. So that's the monthly tax if someone earning 500,000 is going to be paying, assuming they contribute both pension, NHIS, NHF, and they claim a rent relief allowance of 500,000 naira. So this is the position of your tax, and this is what you are going to be paying if you are earning 500,000 naira as an employee working in a paid employment. So let's move over to someone that runs a business name. You know, when it comes to business name, the tax computation of a business name and an employee is the same. We use both graduating rates because a business name is not separate from the owner. Once you run a business name, it's assumed it's still you. So it's assumed you are just doing a self-employed. You are just self-employed, right? It's assumed you are just self-employed if you are running a business name. So your taxes are being computed same with that of an employee which actually works an 8 to 5. So let's move over to the business name sheet and see what is there. So this business name has an annual income of 45 million. So they have run business so much, they have done a lot of activities, and they have 45 million. Then they have some allowable expenses. They paid rent and utilities about 4.5 million, salary and wages about 10.2 million, advertising expenses about 2.7 million, legal and professional expenses about 1.2 million, and transportation and travel expenses about 2.4 million, repairs and maintenance expenses about 6.3 million, summing up to 27.3 million. But that's not all. They also had other expenses that we categorize as non-allowable. The owner of the business was spending money on their personal activities, which summed up to 500,000 for the year. And also there are some fines and penalties. They broke the laws, they didn't park well, they didn't park properly where they are supposed to park, and or they have fined them, and the fine was up to 800,000. And also political contributions and lobbying. They were trying to do some political lobbying for contract, but it didn't work. They spent almost 2 million naira. And then they had entertainment expenses. You understand, just little entertainment expense, buying, entertaining clients, entertaining staff, entertaining clients, buying food here and there and drinks, which summed up to 2,150,000. For entertainment expenses, cost of entertaining clients are often not fully deductible. So a percentage, the tax office reserves the right to calculate a percentage of these expenses that cannot be deductible. So if you have your entertainment expenses is so high, not all of those expenses will be allowable. But in this case, we decided to disallow all of them. So this is what happened. These are the allowable expenses, and then this is the annual turnover the business made in that year. So if we are deducting, we're only deducting this 27,300,000 because those are the only allowable expenses. So if we deduct 27,300,000 from 45 million, what do you have? We have 17.7 million. 17.7 million now is the total taxable income for this business. The total taxable income for this business now is 17.7 million. So let's apply our tax table to see how much this person will pay, right? How much this business will pay, right? So the first 800,000 is tax exempt, as you can see. So we're going to be writing 0 here. And then what's the balance? What's the balance? So equals to this minus, that's the total taxable income minus 800,000. Sorry. Equals to the total taxable income minus 800,000. What do we have? 16.9 million. So 16.9 million, we are going to tax the next 2.2 million at 15%. So the next 2.2 million we are going to do equals to 2.2 million multiplied by 15%, right, which is 330,000. So 16.9 million minus the 230,000 we already calculated a percentage on, the balance will be 14.7 million. So if you look at 14.7 million here, 9 million is more than 14.7 million. So the next 9 million will be taxed at 18%. So we'll do 9 million will be taxed at 18%, which is 1,620,000. So 14.7 million less the 9 million, right? So what is left? 5.7 million is left. And as you can see, the 5.7 million is less than 13 million. So what do we do? So we apply the remaining 21% tax rate on the 5.7 million. So that is equals to this multiplied by, that's 5.7 million multiplied by 21%. So what do we have? 1,197,000, and then here is 0. There is no other, any other balance that we're bringing forward. So here is 0. So what's this business tax? As you can see, 330,000 plus 1,620,000 plus 1,197,000. The business name is to pay a tax of 3,147,000 for the year, for making a 45 million annual turnover. So this is the estimated taxes the business name will pay. So what do you think? Is this tax too much, or it's fair for a business name to pay? So these are the conversations I want us to have in the comment section. You can send a message, send us a comment in the comment section. Let's know if the government is fair to charge a business name this amount, or the amount is seemingly too high. And also for the employee, let's know the amount of tax the employee is to pay. Employee that earns 500,000 monthly with all the deductibles, if 51,015 naira is too much for the employee to pay monthly. So these are the conversations I want us to have in the comment section. So I have a computation of videos on how to use the perfect Excel template that we developed, the strategic perfect Excel template that captures the 2026 computations of this personal income tax. Or just what you need to do is just to insert your annual income and it computes for you automatically. As you can see, I will attach the link to that particular YouTube video here, so that you can access and see how it works. The tax computation works with the standard template, and you can as well proceed to request for the template in that video, so we'll share with you the template. But this is the computation of someone that works 8 to 5 and someone that runs a business name. So what do you think? Let me have your comment in the comment section. See you in the next video.